2 years ago, I built these DIY insulated window inserts for my Skoolie. Honestly, just hoping they'd help a little. But after living in this bus full-time through freezing winters, brutal summer heat, mountain weather, desert camping, these things worked way better than I expected. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what held up, what failed, what I'd change, and whether these are actually worth building for your own Skoolie. If you've ever lived in a Skoolie, van, RV, or even camped in cold weather, you already know the windows are the weakest point. In the winter, heat disappears through the glass. In the summer, the bus turns into an oven. And condensation, that becomes a daily battle, especially in the winter. So after 24 months of full-time living, did these inserts actually solve the problem? Short answer, yes, but there were some surprises. For anyone who missed the original build video, here's the quick version. The goal wasn't perfection. I just wanted something removable, lightweight, and most importantly, effective. These measurements and cuts had to be precise or they would not fit in the wall frames of the bus. I used a circular saw with no cord, and this enabled no entanglement and twisting of the saw. This cutting method allowed me to make all of my cuts by myself. Because I was working with a tight budget, I picked up this $50 table saw on Facebook Marketplace, and all I had to do was buy a new sharp blade at Home Depot. I ripped 3/4 inch pine boards to make my 3/4 by 3/4 inch frames for the window inserts. This was not an easy task working outdoors in all kinds of weather, often getting sawdust in my eyes. But it was one of the ways I saved money on this whole build project. To save time, I used a template to cut all the vertical and horizontal 3/4 inch pine for each of the window frames. As you'll see coming up, these pine strips form the perimeter that houses the insulation inside the window inserts. They also provide additional rigidity for the 1/2 inch plywood that forms the backbone of these window inserts. In this step, I'm weatherproofing the plywood with polyurethane. This will keep the plywood from rotting if there's any moisture on the glass or condensation that over time could deteriorate the plywood. This is only needed on the exterior face and the edges of each piece of plywood. This exterior side is where the reflective foil will be stapled to, toward the outside of the bus. And on the other side, which faces inside the bus, all you need is a primer. I used a white water-based primer. After I completed the polyurethane and the primer on both sides and fastened all of the 3/4 inch pine strips to the perimeter of each piece of plywood, I ended up with a box that was ready to receive the 1/2 inch foam insulation to insulate the windows. The reflective I used is called Smart Shield. This is what faced the exterior of the bus. It has foil on 2 sides and an air pocket between for additional insulation. For inside each window insert, I insulated it with 1/2 inch foil covered foam board insulation. I picked these up, they're 4 feet by 8 feet at my local home improvement store. This is very easy to cut, all you need is a nice sharp utility knife. If these are cut right, there will be no air gaps either behind or on the edges of this foam board insulation. To fasten the insulated window inserts into the bus wall, I use these turn buttons. A 40-foot bus has a lot of open glass area to the outside. I chose to go with the budget-friendly DIY solution, which would be keeping the original bus windows intact and insulating them. Another option is to remove all of the bus windows and instead rivet in sheet metal and then cut out and install RV windows. Usually the RV windows are a bit more energy efficient. However, the cost of that is pretty high for most do-it-yourselfers. Whatever your goals are, you can make it work. But building them is one thing. Living with them every day for 2 years is another story. Winter is where these inserts completely shock me. Before the inserts, the windows felt like giant ice panels. You could literally feel cold air radiating into the bus.
Do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, I can't wait for spring weather. I'm tired of this blizzardy crap out here. The biggest difference wasn't even temperature, it was comfort. The cold radiation coming off the windows almost disappeared, but they weren't perfect. Moisture still became an issue in certain conditions. If ventilation wasn't good enough, condensation could still build up behind the inserts. And summer performance surprised me even more. I originally built these mainly for winter, but summer might actually be where they help the most. Without inserts, direct sunlight turns your bus into a greenhouse. With the inserts installed, the difference was immediate. Less radiant heat, less air conditioning demand, and way more livable during the hottest part of the day. But there was one downside I didn't expect. You lose natural light. And honestly, sometimes the bus starts to feel like a little cave. After 2 years, here's exactly what I would improve. Better moisture management. I would add weather strips behind the window inserts to prevent moisture from inside the bus from condensating on the glass window. In the winter, the moisture would freeze on the glass and make a little film of ice, which eventually drips off down to the bottom of the windowsill. Weather stripping would improve this and prevent the moisture from getting to the glass. Also, I would add a vent around the stove so when you're cooking with water and lots of steam, it could vent to the outside. The second thing I would improve is to make a storage system to store the window inserts when I don't need them. Usually this is between seasons when it's neither too hot nor too cold. Usually I keep most of the window inserts in the windows year-round, and I remove 3 to 4 of them at different times for more lighting. The third thing I would do to improve the window inserts is to add more design look. When I made the window inserts, I was more concerned about function rather than the aesthetics. And the fourth thing I would improve is to use a higher quality reflective facing the sun, as the ones I use tend to deteriorate over time due to the solar radiation. Honestly though, considering how cheap these were to build, I'm surprised at how well these hold up. There's another benefit I did not expect. Quiet. The inserts added insulation against sound too. Less road noise, less campground noise, and the bus just felt more comfortable. And honestly, after living with them this long, I'd never go back. So were these worth building? Absolutely. For one of the cheapest upgrades in the entire bus, they made one of the biggest differences in day-to-day comfort. If you're building a skoolie, van, RV, or tiny home, insulating your windows matters way more than most people realize. If you like this type of content, please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.